project is Coraline's Pink Palace Apartments. Coraline is a stop-motion animated movie from the studio Laika. That's an independent film studio in Portland, Oregon, or just outside Portland, Oregon. I've actually worked as a visual effects artist for the studio for over a decade now. So since Coraline was in production, and when this was in production, I didn't work personally on the film, but I did work at the studio on another film project. And I remember getting to see the puppets and the sets, and I was just so inspired by seeing the actual house that they used on the film that, you know, as a Lego builder, you start seeing it in Lego pieces, and it was just something that I always intended to do.
Yeah, all right. So, what besides the movie being your main inspiration, did you draw on any other inspirations? How about the book? The movie is based on a book, as far as I know.
Yes, definitely. I'm actually a huge Neil Gaiman fan. Have been since I was a teenager. So, actually, when I went to go work for Laika, I kind of had the fantasy that I was going to get to meet Neil and be friends, or I don't know what I thought was going to happen there, but that didn't happen. I never got to meet him. But I'm very much a fan of the book. I was very excited about the movie. I took my daughter to see it when she was 2, so they've grown up on these films. And then it wasn't until recently, actually, it was just a couple of months ago, that I did finally get to meet Neil, and it was because of this project that he expressed that he loved so much, and he was so gracious, and I got his autograph, and he shared the project that's on Ideas, and it was like everything I thought it could be, so it's kind of come full circle, finally. Yes, but definitely the material is very inspirational. Most of it translates between the book and the movie anyway, but of course the bright pink Victorian is more of like an iconic part that you recognize from the film. Yeah.
What was the most difficult part about this build for you?
A couple of difficulties. One of them is, so for anyone that doesn't know the story of Coraline, it's basically she moves into a new house, and it's kind of, old, and she's exploring, and as she's exploring, she finds a door that is initially like bricked up. She's curious about what's on the other side of the door and can't get through, and then later in the movie, it finally opens up, and there's a tunnel to an alternate universe, and so she goes into this world that's very much like her own, but it's better. It's prettier. The parents are better to her, but turns out she's just luring her into a trap. And moral of the story, by the way, is be grateful for what you have and don't always want for more. Be careful what you wish for. So difficulty with that is it's difficult to create dimensions to alternate universes in Lego form. So I had to figure out how she was going to travel through a door to nowhere, basically. And also the issue with that is with the layout of the actual house. I have a floor plan from our set designers, and next to the living room where the secret door is the dad's study. So if you open the door and she goes through the door, she's just going into the dad's parlor. So I kind of had to figure out what's there when she opens the door, and B, how does she not travel into another room. So as you can see here, I put the kind of a floating wall there that has the little door, and in the movie initially the door is bricked up. There's bricks there, and she can't get through. So that was a fairly elegant solution to a very big problem that took me much too long to sort out. After much trial and error of trying to figure out how to connect things, and I just simplified. And then the other big challenge was the roof line. It's a Victorian house. There's lots of odd angles, and so there's lots of jumpers and hinges and things throughout, and trying to get all the angles to meet up and at the right pitch and everything was with the dormer windows and the turret and all that that took probably 25% of the design time by itself.
Wow.
Just sorting that all out. And you're already committed. By the time you get to the roof, you've already built the base, and so you just have to sort it out with magic or whatever. And then also the circus tent was quite troubling. You're working in a very small scale, and there's supposed to be a circus tent inside this attic apartment, so some challenges there as well.
What detail are you most proud of? What is sort of the resistance?
I would say, as far as I think what probably catches people's eye initially is probably this little, I call it kind of a turret rooftop piece here that just has a nice little, this is kind of what gives it a very immediately recognizable Victorian look to it, and it's very like kind of polished off. And this, I wish I could finish off the rest of the roof as nicely as this is right here. One detail people notice a lot is I used a ladder for the porch railing, which a lot of people find very clever. In general, it's more multiple features, but I think I'm proud of the playability features. It's very, I mean, as a stop motion animator, basically I look for interacting and inviting people to play and build their own, to build their own scene and maybe even film their own scene. The cotton candy cannon actually shoots cotton candy. This ladder, this is supposed to be the staircase from downstairs to upstairs, lifts up, so you can actually place your figures in there and put them on the furniture or move the furniture. You see, lots of chairs and things that move around, and everything kind of turns. The piano, the dad's spinning piano. That's kind of another iconic part of the movie that people remember because of the song, "They Might Be Giants" song. So of course had to have the piano spin around, and that's I have it on a motor now, but you could just put a hand crank there and just kind of play around with that.
And how do we find this project? Where can we find it?
The project is on ideas.lego.com. You can search for Coraline. There's not many things that come up. It's a pretty unmistakable bright pink house. So search Lego Coraline Pink Palace. And that's please support.
Of course, and Twitter, Facebook.
Let's see. It's on Tumblr. Neil Gaiman actually shared it on Twitter and Tumblr. So you can find it. I don't show much on there, but they've picked it up and shared it, and there's lots of comments, and I believe it might be on Reddit as well.
Okay. Cool. Well, thank you.
Thank you so much.